뭐야, 소독해? 창문 닫아.
나도 봐. 공짜로 집안에 소독도 하고.
The parks can be considered as the real parasites of the movie because in some sort of way they are the ones infecting the society with their discrimination. In this particular scene, when Mr. Park finds the underwear in his car, he instantly assumes that the driver had a sexual intercourse with a low-class girl, and he also mentions that the girl was surely high. So he's putting aside the fact that he had a good relation with the driver, and he's just making classist assumptions just because the driver works for Mr. Park. In this particular scene, Mrs. Park is disgusted by the hand of Mr. Kim, and she asks him if he washed his hand. In this scene, Mr. Park already likes Mr. Kim, but when Mr. Kim gets a bit distracted, Mr. Park suddenly changes his attitude and he acts rude because he is assuming his superior position once again. This action is probably the most representative for the fact that the rich people are disgusted by the poor because of their smell. In repeated scenes, the smell of the Kims make the Parks feel disgusted, as if they smelled like rats. Mr. Park says Mr. Kim smells like an old wet towel, once again being classist because they clean their clothing with just a regular soap.
So, in this scene at the end of the movie, we can clearly see how poor people feels with the treat they receive. Rich people are a minority in society if we compare with poor people, but they still control everything. So Mr. Kim decides to kill Mr. Park. We see a comparison with the real problems we have in society. We see in this scene how rich people are portrayed like weak and useless, that in a certain point is true. Rich people depend on their workers like parasites. They live isolated in this state of abundance that they lose necessary experience in life. So Mr. Kim reached this point of understanding that if they want to reach fortune, they have to eliminate the rich people, or in this case, their bosses.
Parasite is a very controversial movie. It has a lot of details focusing on how parasitic wealthy people are. We can even see references to this outside the movie, like in the promotional posters, that gives us a lot to talk about. The director Bong Joon-ho shows us how parasitic the Park family is, and this is shown in every scene they appear, because they depend on their workers for everything, from being driven home to not even be able to pick up a knife and cook something for the kids. And a very polemical scene in the movie is with the lights in the stairs, that supposedly they light up with the movement, but in reality, it's a person living below the house that turns them on with each step the Park family takes while they go upstairs. This shows that the Parks doesn't care to know what's behind things, even in their own house. They haven't realized that there is a room below the floor. And not enough with that, this person living in these rooms tries to communicate with the family by Morse code, with the lights, and the foolish response to that is, "That light is weird, we should get it fixed."
The director uses Ethos to influence the spectators to think that the poor family is not really a bunch of parasites. It shows emotions and behaviors that portray people in struggle. And then we can conclude on a subliminal influence with his use of the line. The line is a metaphoric message, showing if a character crosses the line in regards of their social status. This line is hidden in various scenes along the movie and shows how the characters do a perfect job at deceiving the rich family. This shows an ethic and moral incognito, which makes you relate to the main characters. At the start, you understand that this family wants to take advantage of the rich people, but later on, the movie shows that the rich people are not perfect. They have sick tendencies, and it shows how the main family aren't the only parasites. It shows a moral dilemma of which family is the worst.